I know. I feel your pain. All right. Let's see if I can. I'm a little behind on doing
Oh,
social media
Jeff's
here.
in.
Is he? You can see that?
Well, his name just popped up in the show notes.
Oh.
I've got the
Ben's.
show notes open on this screen.
Yeah. Ben's not gonna be here. Hello, Jeff.
How's it going?
All right, running a little late.
Not possible.
I know.
I've created folders um, for each of the shows. And I just put the links in under the folders and put them in the order that I think they're going to happen based on the show notes. And I can just open up the page when we go to it. It's a little hyper organization on my part, but
This is in Google Docs?
no, well, I can show you. Well, basically I have Chrome. I'm using Chrome and I've created a bookmark bar across the top. And in that, I put in folders for Mac Voices Live, In Touch with iOS, Vision Profiles.
Gotcha.
Marty, since you are into the whole hyper organization thing.
Yeah, I don't do it as good as Mike Schmaltz, though.
Oh, Mike Schmitz, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I just dropped a link into the Zoom chat. You might be interested in this. This is a Chrome plugin that I use. It is a subscription thing, and instead of just being another way to manage all your browser tabs, it's a way to organize projects and links into the other web apps that you use. And like if you do a bunch of research, but you're done with the research, but you don't want to just delete the tabs, it lets you archive all of that. So I use this to manage all of the projects that I'm working on for clients.
And it's Chrome. I mean, I can do it in Chrome, obviously.
Yes. Yep.
And it looks like the team, I don't need a team because I only work by myself.
Yeah, I use it by myself, but I have so many different projects that I am paying an annual subscription.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now.
So, I mean, it's like $80 a year.
Yeah.
So less than $10 a month.
I am going to try and do this with the monthly just to see if it sticks with me.
Yeah, good way to start.
God, how many times
I got turned on to it when it was still a beta tool. And of course, they did it right. Everyone could use it for free. And then when it came out of beta, they're like, and we're going to let people keep using it for free for a while.
Huh.
And when they stopped doing that, it's like, well done, because I am so reliant on this product, I can't not pay for it.
Yeah.
I just put another link in. This is something one of my doc students turned me on to. And she has heard from her students, because she teaches at another institution, that they're using this, which basically can take a PDF. There are a couple of these. Elicit is one that focuses more on research based. But this will take PDFs and chomp them into notes, put them into flashcards, record audio, and turn it into notes, lecture notes for you.
Nice.
That's a legit good use for AI right there.
Yeah. Well, my wife has closed the door.
There.
Card. I ain't got news. I'm going to get another Apple card, and I'm not one of the first timers.
Getting another one?
They're going to give me a new one.
Oh, they replaced the card. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
got mine.
I'm still a few months away before my replacement happens.
And I asked if anybody had ideas on lightweight microphones, because that trip to New Orleans carrying that 2-pounder
Mhm.
was a little too much. And somebody suggested a Shure M88 Plus. And I bought it. It's really good quality from my testing with it.
All right. I got that done.
So that'll be my road. Well, on the road.
MV88?
MV88 Plus, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Oh my God. Forgot about the mic. He's sitting in the way. I'm sitting there trying to get this done. I'm sorry, Mike.
Is Ben
Sorry.
coming?
No, he's
Oh my,
sorry
oh my.
about that. I was like
Sure. Whatever.
entrenched in getting things done, and I forgot.
I would have
Thank you for-
remembered you, Mike.
You know how I knew you forgot? I turned on the live stream. I'm like, yeah, Dave forgot. That's all right.
I was sitting here waiting, doing stuff, and I'm behind here, and I'm all thrown off here. We're ready to go. Let me just get my notes up.
Howdy, Marty. Howdy, Jeff.
Good to see
Hi,
you.
Mike.
How the
That's
heck
my-
are you? Oh, I love your wall art.
Yeah, that was a gift from a mug that I did a talk for. And they were giving them away to members. I was also a member. And so the guy shipped it to me with about 5 or 6 other ones. And I went and got that. I presume you're talking about the Yum.
Well, that
I-
and the sun. I thought the
yeah,
sun was pretty cool too.
the Yum was I went and got it framed, and then somebody in my Mac user group looked it up on eBay, and they're selling for like $450 the poster. And so I'm like, I'm not going to sell this. The other thing is from Don Drum, who was a local metal sculpture artist. And he has a sculpture that is outside Taylor Hall where the May 4th protests and the shooting occurred at Kent State. And his sculpture has a bullet hole through it. So if you ever come to Kent and walk around the grounds, you'll see it. But he still has his shop over in Akron, and so I went over and got that piece.
That's awesome.
Mike, I don't think I've seen you since acquired
Oh,
the
you did get it.
$99. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. It's a fun little build. And it has it does have the like the gripper hand and the computer connector, except instead of having the panels open, these pop off and it has separate pieces that you set on.
Oh,
But considering how small it is,
well, and for $100, I think it was like 100, wasn't it?
yeah, it was a $99 kit. And the third leg, it'll come off if you want. And of course the head turns.
Very cool.
There's no sound.
Boop, bloop, boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Well, you can see I finally got my Mickey and Minnie put together.
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
All right. we're ready to go here. Okay, I'm ready. Start this. Now I'm ready. Here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to episode 311 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV related technologies. I am host Dave Ginsburg, and I'm welcoming back to the show Mike Potter. How are you, Mike?
Hey, Dave. Great to be here as always. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, always great to have you. Also great to have here this week is Marty Gensius. How you doing, Marty?
I'm doing good. Like I said, I think the last time I appeared here, Thursday night is the day that all the work has gotten done already for the week. So
There you
it's
go.
very cool just to be in the show and enjoy it.
It's very cool that you've are joining us as a regular contributor. We appreciate that. So there's even more reason to look forward to every Thursday here. And last but certainly not least, Jeff Gamet is here. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing all right. And look at everyone else that's here. And I feel like I really need to step up my game. Still not going to put pants on, but need to step up my game.
That's right. Fortunately, Ben Rather couldn't make it this week, but we're going to miss him. So we'll hopefully see you next week, Ben. But let's go ahead and see what's going to be happening this week. We're going to talk about beta a little bit. We've got dual betas, as we always expect this time of year, with iOS 17.6 and iOS 18. Lots of news. We're going to probably touch a little bit on some of the stuff from the WWDC that we couldn't get to. Nothing crazy, but yeah, there's just so much information out there, and we're just going to go ahead and jump right into the news for this week. As I mentioned, both the developer and public betas. The public beta just got released today as we record this. It's for iOS 17.6 is beta 1, as well as iPadOS 17.6, and then macOS Sonoma 14.6 was also released. No public beta yet for iOS 18, as we fully expected. They usually wait a month before that actually happens. So the only really known feature in it is the catch-up. And that's with a catch up feature in TV app, which is designed for sports viewers. And when 17.5 came out, they introduced the Pride wallpapers and the Quartiles game for News Plus subscribers and some other news content. So really isn't too active when it comes to that. My beta biases are already over on iOS 18, so I probably won't be looking at that too much. So we'll just kind of follow along here, see what happens, and our primary devices will get that eventually. And I would expect a good 2 to 4 weeks of testing before that gets released. So not much else I guess we could say about that. As well as we talked about Mac OS Sonoma 14.6, excuse me. Again, not much to really say since we are going to be on Mac OS Sequoia, not too far away from that, so people probably will be more focusing on that. So I would venture to say all these updates are just some bug fixes and some subtle changes, but nothing I think crazy here. So, we also mentioned that they did WatchOS 10.6, tvOS 17.6, and then the Vision Pro, the Vision OS is at 1.3. I know, Marty, you're already up on 2.0, I'm assuming, on your Vision Pro, right?
Yeah, I'm on 2.0. It's running smooth. Those folks who I've known have moved to from 1.2 to 1.3 say they're getting the benefits of better reaction and clarity from it and more responsivity. So I'm seeing that in 2.0.
Great.
And yeah, lots of good news in terms of how even the small updates are helping the platform.
Excellent. So some of the iOS 18 beta news, some of the things we couldn't really have touched on last week. These are some of the features that probably aren't going to be coming until probably iOS 18.1 or later after it's released. That's the mail categorization. That the mail app was going to gain 4 new category powered by on-device intelligence, which is primary transactions, updates, and promotions. Seems to sound a little bit about like Gmail, doesn't it? Having some of those filters, don't you think, Jeff?
Yes, and while I appreciate that for some people this becomes a gloating point, my feeling at this point is, hey, all of these operating systems, platforms, applications are pretty mature. So when we see a feature show up on one that's been on another for a while,
Yep.
that's just where we are with all of this. Now, the fact that we're not getting this right away is no surprise.
No.
The features primarily that we're not getting right away all relate to Apple's own AI platform, Apple Intelligence. So some of the things I'm guessing will roll out a little bit earlier, but overall, it's just we're waiting for the AI thing to happen
Yeah.
after the initial launch.
Mike, do you like to do have you done categorizations in your email at all? Are you into that much?
I don't like any automatic categorization turned on in my email. If I
Yeah.
set up filters, if I set up automatic categorization, I want it to be stuff that I set up and not something that the computer thinks I want set up. So I would, the very first thing I'd be doing is looking for how to turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We were just talking pre-show, Marty. You doing some organization? Is that something you would do in email?
You know, I do it by hand like Mike. I mean, I create folders, then I filter things to folders. I've tried Spark, and Spark will do all of that automation for you up front. And it's searching through things, and I'm like, I don't even want to see this email. Why are you giving this to me to make a decision on where I want it? And so I just trust it more by hand.
Okay. So, and just I'll just kind of just glance through here. Some of the Apple Intelligence features may show up. Of course, that's only for iPhone 15 Pro and newer models when iOS 18 is released. So, not much to say about that. I guess you can control a robot vacuum with Siri. That is interesting. I don't have one, and I don't know. Do you have one,
I've
Jeff?
got one, and I just turn it on to
Right.
torture the dog. That's the only.
There you go.
You know, somebody has to remind me to turn it on. So I don't know the automation of it. It just doesn't work for me.
Go ahead, Jeff.
My robot vacuum has a very scheduled routine, and it's not the same every day of the week.
Yeah.
But as far as controlling my robot vacuum with the Yes Lady, when you're ready to do some vacuuming, you're like, oh, I need to spot vacuum this section of my house or this zone. Right now, it's pull out an app, go through the settings in the app, and then find the zone, and then send it on its way. Unless you're using a vacuum that has A Lady support, in which case you've been able to do this for years, where you say, "Hey, A Lady, have the vacuum clean the living room," or whatever the command is. So getting this on Apple's or HomeKit, great. It'll be nice. And that's exactly how I will end up using it.
Yep.
Hey, S Lady, vacuum the living room.
Yep. And with Mike smiling, I don't think he has a robot vacuum in his house.
The robot vacuum is me. That's what does the
You
robot.
have cats, right?
I thought the whole point of robot vacuums was to pre-program them to do certain zones at certain times. And if they're pre-programmed to do their job, then why do you need a personal assistant support?
You have company coming over, or you spill stuff on the floor. And so it's, hey, S Lady, vacuum the kitchen.
Torture the dog or whatever. Yeah.
Now, having a cat To me, that makes a robot vacuum indispensable.
Yeah.
Seriously, I have the robot vacuum go clean in front of the litter box every morning and every evening.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just do it directly from the app. I mean, it has a fairly robust app where I can do all the programming and what day I want to run it and when I want to run it. And to add a second layer of home on it just doesn't
Yeah.
it's just too many possibilities to fail.
Here's a place where I see it being cool. Let's say you want the vacuum to run, but not at a time when it's likely to disturb you. So you have it set on a geofence. You leave your house, and then the vacuum turns on, does its thing, and by the time you get home, it's done.
I
You're-
like how Jeff worked cool and robot vacuums into the same sentence.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very good.
Yep.
You guys aren't buying into the whole home kit with robot vacuum. I can
I
tell.
just think of my dog going nuts when I'm not home and the thing is running.
Yeah. There's that too.
My cat just supervises with disdain.
Exactly. Yes.
Moving on here, let's go to WatchOS 11. It's going to support the automatic nap detection. It does appear to have including a new feature that allows the Apple Watch to automatically detect and record when you're taking a nap. An Apple Watch owner that took a nap was able to see the sleep data recorded in the Health app despite not putting the device in sleep mode. So more changes to the health type apps that are on the Apple Watch, tracking your sleep, so you get those extra hours of when you nap as well as your normal hours of sleep. I personally don't use that sleep app, but I think a lot of people do. So the other thing that they're looking at potentially having is iOS 18 is going to gain emergency SOS live video support. It'll give iPhone users who find themselves in an emergency situation a way to provide more information and context for emergency responders with an update to emergency SOS. Emergency SOS will now support live video, which means once the SOS feature is activated, streaming video and recorded media can be sent to emergency personnel. Emergency dispatchers can then send a request for the user to share either live video or a video from the camera roll, which Apple says it could make it be easier to get faster help. This is great. I mean,
That is great.
More improvements.
Yeah, that's pretty
We
cool.
were already excited last year when this feature was introduced. Now this is even more of a game changer, as well as they enabled including iMessages being able to be sent over SOS.
Yeah, I think it's cool just because of the medical possibilities with that. If someone's injured, they can send information. If I don't know how to properly do a tourniquet or something like that, I can get feedback when I send that information in and get information back with video or back and forth.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
It's
Speaking
going
of
to save
messages,
lives.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, yes.
Oh, it's all right.
It is going to save lives. Yeah, yeah. That's a huge part about
And
it.
I know a lot of people are looking at this. Marty, the way you described it, it's like, I'm here, someone's hurt, I don't know what to do, but I can show the first responders the video of what I'm looking at, and they can be like, yeah, that person's bleeding and the car behind them is on fire. We've got a problem.
Yeah.
But when I look at it, I'm also thinking domestic violence.
Ooh,
And someone calls 911, and now they can have the dispatchers can have video of what's going on in that situation in real time, so that the first responders have a much better idea of what kind of situation they're going into.
Yeah. And speaking of messages, was there a load of different new changes and features being added under iOS 18 with messages, notably schedule app messages. That's quite an advantage to be able to schedule a message if you don't want to send it right away, especially maybe you're thinking about sending something at 2 o'clock in the morning and you really don't want it to be sent. And if they don't have do not disturb on and it goes ding, and then
Or you
they
don't
get
want
mad
them
that
to
you
know
sent
you're awake.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Or you want to sober up and stop sending it when you wake up in the morning before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it can be sent at a later date and time in both individual and group conversations. And you can go up to, as of the first beta, you can now schedule it to up to 14 days later.
Wow.
So that's quite a long time. And maybe you schedule it and 14 days later comes by and you're like, oh wait, I forgot I put that in there. So tap backs, they've done some tap back changes, including redesigning it. They're colorful. They got the heart, thumbs up, thumbs down, the haha, and the exclamation marks, question marks. Emoji tap backs. If anyone doesn't know what a tap back is, you send it, it taps back and forth at you. Improve visibility, so it's going to be much easier to view these tap back reactions in a single message. The text formatting and effects, I think this is kind of cool. It's the underline, bold, italics, strike through formatting is now finally available, including you got the animated words, including big, small, shake, nod, explode, ripple, bloom, and jitter. So you've
Problem I'm
got
having with the
yeah.
animated text thing, because of course I played with it right away. And I'm sorry, I just totally interrupted.
No, go ahead.
Sorry about that. You can't do the live text effects to just punctuation, because what I wanted to do was have a sentence appear and then have the exclamation point at the end, like bounce in or zoom in or something. So there was a special effect on just that. Maybe they'll add that.
Yeah, maybe. We talked about messages via satellite. We know that's happening, as well as later this year, it's going to be the RCS support, which of course RCS stands for Rich Communication Services, and it's not enabled right now in this very first beta, but Apple said it will roll out later this year. Those green bubble people, making it easier to communicate to. It will have some improvements in there in RCS support, and which includes higher resolution photos and videos, audio messages, typing indicators, read receipts, Wi-Fi messaging, improved group chats, including the ability for the iPhone users to leave a conversation that includes Android users, and SMS will continue to be supported. They did some updates to the emoji. I really like link cards. When you send a link and you get it as a card, I like that because it just gives you some nice clean information about a link that you send somebody. Now when you send a message with only one single emoji, it now appears even larger than before. Okay. As well as they're more colorful. The background is better matching to the linked content. So they've made some adjustments to that. Any app can also be locked behind Face ID, Touch ID, or the iPhone's passcode in iOS 18, including the Message app, because they did talk about being locked in the app. So you may want to keep your messages private if someone picks up your phone and you want to start sending a message on your behalf if it's unlocked. And, oh, wait, you need my Face ID to unlock it to get to it. iOS 18 can solve math equations in the text field of any app, including the Messages app. That's interesting. As well as it adds contact photos next to names in the Messages app on CarPlay. So a lot of interesting enhancements we didn't get to really talk about much last week, and I'm looking forward to playing with it a little bit more when it comes to messages here. So this is definitely very cool. Lastly, I wanted to talk a little bit about is I didn't have a good comprehension of what a genmoji is. A genmoji. And we've had the memoji, so we made an emoji of me and us, but now we've got genmoji, which is part of the the Apple Intelligence feature. It's going to allow you to create AI-generated all new emoji characters based on text input. Genmoji will look similar to the emoji, but they're custom created. And there was a session on that at DubDub last week about that. So the emojis are not images. Instead, they're pictographs that are encoded with the Unicode standard. and rendered by each platform. So it is they're added by the Unicode Consortium, which will raise some questions about how Apple's Genmoji solution will work. So then it goes through and talks a lot about this stuff. Is this something you guys would use? I don't know. I don't think Mike would probably. This would be something you'd like to use with this.
Probably not. I mean, what I've seen of them so far, I know they're supposed to be cute, but they just creep me out. So I probably won't be using them. You know, that's me. I use stickers sparingly from time to time. I use
Disney
emoji
stickers, right?
a little bit more, here and there. I don't use the emojis. I created it, but I don't
I do too. I don't
really use it. So
how about you, Mike?
probably not. Probably not.
I think generationally there are people who are going to be into it. I don't text in hieroglyphics, so I never, past donut, eggplant, donut, eggplant, donut, eggplant. There's really not much use for it for me. I like to do my cursing in plain text. Thank you.
Yep. Then I know Jeff's gonna use them. Then that's just for that reason.
Yeah, I'm gonna make special ones just for you, Marty. It's I use stickers some. I use memojis some, and I do use a lot of just traditional emojis. So I expect I will use this too, but probably not as much as regular emojis.
Yeah, I think it's not going to be a heavy use.
We're not the right demographic.
No.
And that's okay. Apple needs to appeal to a very broad audience,
Right.
which means not every feature is going to be for us.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You're spot on with that. Culturally, there's features of the iPhone that just aren't used much at all here in the States, but they're used to excess in other countries. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it will be interesting. There's no doubt about that. Thought this was a good topic here. There was a new survey that reveals how many people considered CarPlay a must-have in a new car. This was a 9 to 5 Mac, and Chance Miller wrote a really good article previous to this, and we've had plenty of discussion about the insane decision of what GM made on abandoning CarPlay in their vehicles, which I think was the dumbest move and Android Auto for that matter. But the survey did detail on just how important CarPlay is for people shopping for a new car, with a third of consumers considering it an absolute must-have. I think all of us would probably be in that demographic because I wouldn't buy a car now without CarPlay. It was actually a survey that was conducted by McKinsey & Company, which is a pretty big, prestigious company that does a lot of this stuff.
They do good
real
studies.
good stuff. Yeah, I've worked with them before in the corporate world too. So, and it was shared with Automotive News that found about 30% of the people globally shopping for an electric car considered the lack of CarPlay support to be a deal breaker. Well, I guess they're not buying a Tesla. And the number is slightly higher for those people buying just an ICE car, which is 35% of shoppers saying that they wouldn't buy a car if it didn't have CarPlay support. So, if you narrow the survey down to include the buy set in the U.S., the numbers shift slightly, but CarPlay is still a key factor. So I find this real interesting. I think we've had plenty of discussion before about CarPlay and how we wouldn't live without it. We've had many folks that have been on this show, and I'm sure all of you here too are the same. I know not all of you here have CarPlay in your car, but Marty, I'm gonna start with you. I mean, I assume you have CarPlay in your car, and are you? And you'd feel that way?
I had a real struggle with CarPlay. My car is, I don't know, 2-3 years old, and I had a struggle getting it. And for a brief period of time, I had an Android phone, and it worked really well in my phone to do all of that. But then, Dave, you talked about that dongle, that Bluetooth dongle, and maybe we can find it and put it in the show notes. Yeah. I got that, and I'm not looking back at all. I mean, now it's like I've got to have CarPlay, and it works. That dongle works so well, Bluetoothing to my phone, for it, and it comes up on my panel as CarPlay now. There's a lot of good things that have happened with the automobile I'm driving. So, but it's a must have. I kind of like the fact that I get to control the radio again. Because it Bluetooths to my phone, but it doesn't Bluetooth to other folks' phones. So right now I get to kind of control that process, but I'm enjoying it.
Okay. Jeff, I know you don't have CarPlay in your car, but would you agree
Right.
with the survey?
Absolutely. And from the perspective of someone that often has a rental car, do a rental car when traveling.
Mhm.
If CarPlay isn't in the rental car, I don't want the car. And the
Right.
only reason I don't have CarPlay in my car right now is because it was not an option on that
Right.
model, the 2013 Prius. And to put CarPlay in, it's doing an aftermarket thing. It's
Mhm.
totally doable, but the process of doing it, I do not feel like doing the emotional investment, because it's like completely disassemble the dashboard, and it's a process. So when I'm emotionally prepared to deal with that, I am absolutely taking out the factory head unit, and I'm putting in as big of a CarPlay screen as I can fit into that space.
Yeah, makes sense. What's your thoughts on the CarPlay, Mike?
We don't have CarPlay in either of our vehicles. I do agree with Jeff that if you're getting a rental car, you probably want it. I can't think of a better reason to have it than in a rental car. But I have very little use for it, so I don't feel like I'm missing it. When we go
Okay.
on trips, I have a MagSafe mount. It just sits right on the dashboard, and stick my phone on it, and there you go. I'm good to go. And in my car, I have a bit of a modular car, and there's a lot of aftermarket parts for it. So I literally removed the top center of my dashboard and replaced it with a manufactured piece that goes in there that has a multi-mount. So I stuck a MagSafe mount to that. So every time I go
That's
in my car, I
cool.
just stick my phone to the top of that, and
Right.
there you go. So I have not really missed it, quite frankly. But I do agree. Yeah, if you're getting a rental car, it's got to be a must-have for something like that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And I have not tried, and in fact, I need to do that. Try the beta version of it with the other phone I have. I have a beta iPhone, so I want to see what kind of subtle changes happen. They really haven't talked much about any changes, but yeah, we know that Apple's been working on a full screen display that would immerse you completely into the CarPlay world, and some manufacturers, car manufacturers, are incorporating that, and some aren't. So I mean, but as long as they're supporting it, that's fine with me. So I mean, and yeah, and then like Marty said, that wireless adapters was such a game changer for me, because I was annoyed. It's so annoying to have to plug my cord into the phone every time I got into the car, and now it's plugged into the USB port in my console. You know, my car is about 4 or 5 years old, so 2018. So but it still has the technology. So I mean, it really still works. And uh, I had two adapters. The one I put in the show notes, which I talked about a number of weeks ago, is the one that I'm now using, because it works really well. And it just works. And sometimes it has problems, but you know, that's to be expected. It's a device that's sitting plugged into a USB port, and you know, in times you have to unplug it, plug back in, and it tends to work. But that is a game changer, because a lot of cars out there don't have CarPlay, or they do, but want you to plug it in wired. Yeah, unfortunately, there are cars like Jeff's car. I don't think can plug into the USB port, because it doesn't have the technology in the head unit that can do it. So therein lies, you have to get an external device, or replace the head unit completely. Which of course, then there's that whole thing we've had discussions about before, because it takes away all of your controls for some important controls, like your heat and AC and all that stuff. So, but no, I agree with I agree with you, Marty. Yeah, that wireless adapter has been quite the godsend. And you
Yeah,
said it's
my
changed.
biggest challenge is my commute is like 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh, okay,
So just about the time something comes on, you know,
Yeah.
it turns off.
Yeah. Ours is 20, so it's really not much
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
And I'm 25, so, but you know, it's nice. It's nice to have, and I mean, and you're also finding too a lot of radio stations. I like to listen to radio stations, you know, your terrestrial radio, and a lot of these radio companies are creating the apps that are compatible to CarPlay, and they want you to put it on have it the first button on your dash, so you can just tap that, and that's the first station you're going to listen to. But you know,
That's smart.
it is smart. And
I
a
mean,
lot
annoying,
of them
but
are
it's
advertising
smart.
that. It is. It is. But you know, I think when people who've listened to terrestrial radio like to touch their buttons and switch stations to listen to something else as they want to, if something is not as interesting. So, but no, it is smart, and I think more you're going to see more and more of those types of apps that are out there. Even you know, an aggregated app like iHeartRadio or Odyssey. That both of those get you access to multiple stations and be able to do the same thing, basic thing. So and you might want to listen to a station that's out of the region. So, but yeah, I think CarPlay is just really has become a thing that you really need to. I find it valuable now. I had cars in the past I didn't have it, and I was like, I gotta get a car with it. I gotta have it. So now I do. And it's been a while. So. Want to give a shout out to some folks that are in the chat at youtube.com/intouchwithios. Cletus, as always, it's great to see you, and Brian is here as well. He just got home, so he's listening to us now live. I appreciate it. And as we come and records on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Cletus says about CarPlay. At times, I'm in my car for hours. The CarPlay is great, and there are times that I'm in my car for 20 minutes. So I wonder why I have CarPlay. So yeah, so he kind of agrees to the stuff we've been just talking about. So, so great topic. Yeah, I think this was a lot of good information. And like I said, I put the link in the show notes for that CarPlay wireless adapter that I recommended before. Next story here. I want to talk a little bit about YouTube. YouTube has been always looking to change, and I'll be honest, YouTube is driving me crazy because every time I go look, or I'm in the live chat right now, and they keep changing the way it looks, and I can't see some things I want to see how many people are in the chat room. I can't even see that. Still trying to figure that out, but it's probably my problem more than YouTube's. But they are changing this interface constantly, the way it looks. Well, they also want to change things when it comes to iOS, and YouTube is going to ask iOS users to allow tracking for more personalized ads. And this came with iOS 14.5 that Apple required app developers way back then to tell users about having them to opt in to broader tracking. And in 2021, Google Apps stopped certain tracking methods to comply and to have that show it as well. So, we always see the pop-ups, and I always say ask app, not the track. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want you to be tracking what I do, like it's the Starbucks or any of these other apps. You can go in and actually go to the list and see what's on and what's off, and why do you need to track me? So with the YouTube for iOS app, it's going to show a one-time permission, allow YouTube to track your activity across other companies and apps and websites with two options: allow or ask app not to track. So that's pretty standard. And then interesting is I'm a YouTube Premium subscriber, so of course it won't bother me because it says the prompt will not appear in subscribers and users with child accounts on YouTube as well. So that's kind of a good thing. But yeah, again, not everybody wants to pay for YouTube Premium. I understand that. So you will have that choice to opt in, and I think this is a good thing. And maybe Google's getting a little smarter because a lot of consumers just don't want this stuff. I'm going to start with you, Jeff. What do you think on this?
The whole ad tracking thing just absolutely sucks, and I blame Google for all of this. That said, at least YouTube is doing this the correct way, where they're creating an opt-in situation. So it's not like you have to go digging for settings to turn off something that you didn't even realize had been active.
Okay. How about you, Mike? I know you. I'm sure we're all in agreement here. We hate ads. We don't want
Yeah.
to deal with them.
Well, I don't hate ads.
Well, not
Ads
hate them.
pay,
I guess that's,
you
it's a
know,
bad word. I probably
it,
it's not that we dislike them. We're not big fans of them, but I know they have to be there.
ads help fund the careers of many a YouTuber. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
True.
fantastic. That's wonderful. If I'm going to get ads, I would much rather have ads that are relevant to me than not relevant to me.
Right.
I will say that it's a much better experience watching YouTube on the Roku or the Apple TV than it is on the phone. The phone is just, I mean, there are more ads on the YouTube
Yeah.
app on the phone than you ever
Oh.
see on YouTube on the big screen or on the computer for that matter. So they're definitely pummeling us with ads there. Personally, I'm a little bit more bothered by the idea that they may inject ads directly into the videos to help thwart ad blockers. I'm not a fan of that. Right now they break, show their ad, and then come back to the video, but they're talking about actually injecting the ads into the videos to help
Right.
prevent ad blockers from skipping them.
Right.
You know, I think the solution to all of this, lower the price of YouTube Premium. It's
Yeah.
just not worth 15 bucks a month or whatever it is, for 13.99 or what. It's not worth it. I would much
Mhm.
rather go through the ads and press skip after 5 seconds than pay 14 bucks a month for it. At least I know that the channels that I watch are being supported by the ads that are shown during that, especially when it
Yeah.
comes to a channel like, oh, let's say Nagasaki Biopark, which is a zoological park in Japan. We watch their videos, ads are shown during the videos, and I know that that helps fund that particular
Yeah.
entity and the videos that they put out. So, you know,
Makes
I'm
sense.
okay with the ads. I'm fine with it.
Okay. How about you, Marty? Are you YouTube Premium subscriber?
I'm a premium subscriber.
Then
And
you're
I
with me.
forget about the ads
Me too.
until I go to work and I want to show a YouTube video or a portion of one in class. And
Yeah.
if I use the general browser and go in, I'm going to get ads in the middle of what instructional piece I'm taking off of YouTube. So then I have to sign in on my own account and then go through two-factor authentication. This happened today, just to show a couple of videos without my students being subjected to ads, and
Yeah.
as in the middle of the process. So yeah, I find them frustrating. I really do get Mike's point, and I didn't think of that until Mike brought it up. It's a way to contribute to the people that you watch because those ads will be linked to them in terms of revenue, and that's a really good part. I kind of wished there's a way to say I'm wondering where my 15 bucks a month is going, if it is going to any of the content producers to YouTube, or if it's just going to YouTube.
I bet it's just going to YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You
that's
know,
too bad.
now that we're talking about all this, listening to everyone else, the big problem that I'm seeing with this isn't so much that different platforms need to sell advertising to fund their operations. It's the invasive, intrusive way the ads are being presented to us, and in many cases, it's done in a way that really interrupts very abruptly the video you're watching.
Mhm.
They need to find a better way to present that ad content without making it so disruptive. I mean, as it stands right now, as someone who doesn't pay for a YouTube subscription, when ads pop up just like at rando places in a video,
Mhm.
like mid word,
That's bad.
not only
Yeah.
am I pissed off, but whatever the product is, I will remember to never buy it ever because screw those guys.
Yeah. So, yeah, interesting. Like I said, yeah, give or take it. I had there was a couple comments in the chat here and on youtube.com/ITWIOS. Cletus says good. That's good. The good thing that he says the ads are great for breaks, and
They are.
and
Snack breaks.
yeah. And Brian says I like it when the ads are appropriately placed at segment breaks on long videos. It's worse when it's random. 'Cause, yeah, you're
Yes.
you're watching
Yes.
away, and then all of a sudden, there it is.
And maybe the injected ads will help solve that problem where they're not
Yeah.
just finding a point to break and show an ad, but when they're actually making an effort to figure out where within the video they should inject the ad. Maybe that's better. I don't know. I feel like they're modifying someone's art when they do that, and that's what bothers me
Yes.
about it. But yeah, you know,
Yeah, is
all
what it
for the
is.
good
Well,
of Google.
yeah, pretty much. Interesting story here today, and the good topic is 1Password. 1Password just introduced today as we record this actually, a recovery codes, so you'll never lose access to your most sensitive information. And it says tools like 1Password or Apple's upcoming Passwords app offer a convenient storage hub for your important account info. But what happens if somehow you get locked out of your account? Well, 1Password is debuting a new feature designed to stop that from ever happening with recovery codes. Recovery codes are a way to gain access to your 1Password account, even if you forget the all important 1Password, the whole point of it, that unlocks the vault. And this is how 1Password is describing it. It says a recovery code is going to be a unique and secure code generated by an app on a website as a backup to help you regain access to your account in case you forget your account password. You can't use two-factor authentications, or in some case, some of the case, 1Password also losing your emergency kit and your secret key. 1Password recommends that all users set up recovery codes today. So they go through some steps of how to do that, and managing your accounts. I just got this, it's been hot off the press here a few hours, so I haven't really had to explore it too much yet. Jeff, what do you think? Is this something that's good? I trust 1Password. We've all used 1Password here one way or another. What do you think?
I think it's a good idea, and I actually had to look at this closely because my first thought was we already have this in 1Password because there's the whole emergency kit thing. So why do we need this? Um, and I guess that what this does is gives us an alternate way to be able to regain access to our account in the event that we do not have access to our emergency kit. So what I'm thinking with this is that my trusted contact who can access my 1Password account in the event of my untimely demise. um, the, I will. They have emergency kit access, but I will also give them this, so they have another way to be able to recover my account should I not be in a position where I care about accounts anymore.
Yeah. How about you, Mike? Do you use 1Password or you use another password manager?
I have switched to another password manager, but 1Password's great. I think it's a wonderful password manager, but I have recently switched to something different. But I had the same question as Jeff, so I'm going to need to read this a little bit more and understand how this recovery code is different than the emergency kit. I know in the article it says, just in case you lose access to your emergency kit. Well, I probably expect that same person would lose access to their recovery
Yeah.
code too. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know. I have to learn a little bit more about this. You can give people as many methods as you want to help them recover their account, but unless they retain that information someplace, I don't know what good it is for them. So to me, the emergency kit is the ideal solution. I love their emergency kit. So I don't know how this adds to that. I have to learn more about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lastly, what about you, Marty?
Out of sight from the cameras here is a bookshelf that's stuffed full of papers and microphones and any other thing that I can fit on it. Somewhere in there is my emergency kit. It's
At least you know
not,
where it is.
well, yeah, if the house goes on fire, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and go through my bookshelf looking for the emergency kit. I think this is a advantage to the consumer. I think it's also an advantage to the company because I'm sure they fielded lots of phone calls. I don't know where my emergency kit is. How do I reset this? How do I go? This gives people an easier entry into getting the recovery code that they need for 1Password. So it's a win-win from a consumer standpoint and also from the company standpoint.
So if I understand you correctly, Marty, 1Password keeps the recovery code?
No, but this, from what I can tell from this article, they're asking you to sign in and select your, I was saying emergency kit, but sign in and recover. And
I'm
you
looking
can
at it
set up a
now. There's
recovery
just a
code.
button here after you get signed in and go into your account, account management, sign in and recovery options. There's a button, set up recovery code.
Right. And then where do you store that recovery code? On your bookshelf with everything else.
No, I store it in notes on my phone.
Okay.
With a password.
Sure. With a password, I hope. Just don't forget that password,
of course,
Marty.
yeah, of course with a password.
The ideal solution, Marty, is to download a PDF of your emergency kit and store it as an attachment within 1Password. That's what you want to do right there.
Or a QR code that you can just have tattooed to your body.
Yeah, well, yeah, you could do that.
Make sure it's a part of your body that if you lose, it doesn't matter whether or not you've got your recovery code.
Yeah.
Lots of choices there.
Lots of
Yeah.
lots of changes with and some changes for the good with password managers. With Apple's upcoming passwords app, it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. I don't think it's going to affect these other password managers like 1Password and Bitwarden and others. But those it's good that 1Password continues to evolve with adding a lot of different features here. So
definitely.
Other topic is I want to talk a little bit about, and Apple did announce this during the keynote, was the fact that the Final Cut was going to be getting some pretty big updates. First off, they did add the Final Cut camera that's now available for the iPhone. It's on the App Store. This was just announced today as we record this, that it was released. And Apple did promise to release the Final Cut camera. It was later in the spring. Well, today is the first day of summer. So, but nothing had come of it. Well, now it's good news that it did just come out. Now, as you hear this, you'll be able to find it in the App Store. It's going to be an all-new video capture app that lets creators wirelessly connect and remotely directing each video angle with powerful Pro controls. Although the app was first presented as a companion tool for controlling the iPhone camera from the iPad, it's going to work on the iPhone as a standalone app. With the app, you'll be able to adjust things like white balance, manual focus, while monitoring zebras and measuring audio. And it also provides ISO and shutter speed controls, as well as making it easy to switch between resolutions and video formats. So they really have got some really cool things to this. And I again just got it today, so I haven't had a chance to play with it yet here. Mike, you being the photographer you are, what do you think?
Yeah.
Is this something you'd look at?
Well, this was the Let Loose event that they announced this, wasn't it? Wasn't that it wasn't WWDC, it was the previous event.
I think you're right.
And
because of the iPad, yeah.
Yeah, it was immediately after that event. I went to go download Final Cut Camera. I'm searching for it. I'm reading the articles. I'm like, where is this dang app? And then I realized, oh yeah, that's right. It's coming out later. So now it's later. I saw it was out, but I have it downloaded. No, I don't have it downloaded yet. I'm looking forward to it though. There's a lot of great control that they're going to give the end user over the camera, both for I believe both for still and video. If
Yeah,
I'm,
that's what it said.
yeah. So that's talk about Sherlocking. That might take out a few other apps once this comes out.
Good.
I don't know. I don't know.
What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I think for some people this or for some developers this could potentially Sherlock them. However, um that would only be for customers that were considering switching to Final Cut Pro or already using Final Cut Pro and another product at the same time. But this is good. Apple needs to be doing a lot of stuff to make sure that the audience, the customer base for Final Cut Pro does not go away. Um, I'm guessing that they are still, to some degree, recovering from the major customer base loss when they had to abandon the code and start from scratch. So yeah, everything they're doing now to make this even more enticing, great, do it.
But I don't think you need Final Cut to use Final Cut Camera, though. That's a standalone app.
It is.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I
Yeah.
misunderstood.
Yeah.
I did too at first, I'll admit. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was I thought when you installed Final Cut, you got this camera or something.
Yeah,
But
right,
no,
and
it's
I
a
thought it was
standalone app.
you had to get it as a separate thing to use just with Final Cut.
No, I believe you can.
Huh.
Standalone.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm downloading it. I'm downloading it now as a separate app.
Right.
Okay. So depending on I need to play with this. Depending on the features that are in it, I could see where Allied could
Yeah.
have some concerns.
Competition. What do you think, Marty, before we move on here?
Like I said, I heard about it here and am downloading it right now, and I think it's exciting. To Jeff's comment about Sherlocking some programs, at the same time, I read something about, and maybe it's in the material tonight, about how Apple's going to open up their system to allow cameras added to some of their apps that haven't been. So the APIs are going out for these other apps to be able to be included in some of the Apple stuff.
This is free.
It is
That's
free.
bad news for some developers.
Could be. Yeah, it definitely could be. So they also released, and I'll just move into the news here. They also released Final Cut Pro for the iPad 2 as well as Final Cut Pro for the Mac. It's now 10.8. They released that today as we record. And the iPad version, they just renamed it. It's now called Final Cut Pro for the iPad 2. Okay. Takes full advantage of
the iPad 2 has been discontinued for years.
I know. So they went from version 1 of this app to version 2 apparently. So it's taking full advantage of the the iPad Pro with the M4 chip. So I'm excited to try this out. And Apple notes that it enables up to 2 times faster rendering and supports up to 4 times more stream of ProRes RAW than the M1 and iPad Pro. The headline feature for the iPad Pro for the iPad update was the new live multicam capability, which they talked about, and we just talked about that. So, and of course, that's going to incorporate it really nicely with the camera app we just mentioned, and with the live multi-view feature, having this as well. This is definitely going to be interesting, and may be even more of a attractive to subscribe, because it is only $49 a year, or was it $5 a month? If you want to try it. I believe they do have a trial, so you can try it out for like the first 30, there's a 30 days or 7 days. I don't remember what it is, but this is great. It's some exciting times here with Final Cut. What do you think on this, Mike?
Well, it certainly is. I know Eric, my co-host on For Mac Guys Only, uses Final Cut Pro for the iPad, as well as Final Cut Pro on the Mac. And I think he's been finding some really nice utility with it. It's probably not something that I will use myself, but having the ability to kind of bounce back and forth between platforms is going to be huge
Yeah.
for folks who can take advantage of that.
Yep. Eric was on the show here. We might have him come back and give us some more insights on that. I'd definitely like to hear more what his thoughts are on it. What do you think, Marty?
I have had Final Cut Pro on my iPad and now on the new iPad. And I just went to look to see, hey, should I be uploading Final Cut Pro 2 or whatever it's called? And it seems like when I searched for it, that's what came up and I already have it loaded. So it must have been handled in an upgrade update with this app on it. So now I have both the camera app and the Final Cut Pro. I bounced between Final Cut Pro and Premiere and probably spend more time on the Premiere side of it in terms of doing video editing. But I would like to be able to shift that so I spend more time on the Final Cut Pro end of it since I'm using those Apple Pro tools.
Yep. And lastly, Jeff, what do you think?
Great.
All right, that about sums it up. Throw me off there.
You were not expecting that.
No, I was not. Oh my God, you're funny. All right, a couple of news stories before we go ahead and wrap up. Apple did discontinue the Apple Pay Later feature in the wallet, which I'm not surprised. Apple did discontinue it this week as we record. It just launched like in October, so it's only been less than a year. And people who have existing Pay Later loans will be able to continue to pay them off, and then manage them through the wallet app. But they were given a 9 to 5 Mac was given a statement from Apple about this, and they said starting later this year, the users across the globe will be able to access their installment payments through credit and debit cards, as well as lenders, while checking out with Apple Pay. With the introduction of this new global installment loan offering, we will no longer offer Apple Pay Later in the U.S. Their focus continues to be providing our users with access to an easy, secure, and private payment options like with Apple Pay, and this solution will enable to bring flexible payments to more users and more places across the globe. So I think that this is probably going to be something that maybe they'll look at something else. I mean, for those who don't want to apply for a credit card or have the Apple Card, I mean, the Apple Card's amazing, and I think most of us here have one, but it's I'm not surprised. These pay later services, I've never been a huge fan of them as it is, but there's some advantages to it. People that don't want to have to use a credit card and have payments that way, it comes to be an advantage. What do you think, Marty?
Brian Flanagan Arthurs posted an article on this that was a bit of an update explaining the rationale behind it. And first of all, it's not a moneymaker for Apple. It's not a big moneymaker for Apple. Secondly, the Consumer Protection Agency is looking at the law around these types of services. And apparently there are some real guidelines that these services should be following. That the rumor is that the Consumer Protection Agency is going to start looking at these seriously, and the way that these services have been skirting around following this and protecting consumers, like, can they return stuff? What's the process that you have for that in terms of refunds? All of that has to be very clear in terms of consumer protection, and that just made it a bigger pain in the butt for Apple to be doing it. So, the stories have been that Affirm is one of these services, and Apple's going to have a suite of services that they can recommend people to do, but they're essentially going to get out of the business of trying to do it on their own.
Right. How about you, Jeff?
I hadn't seen the article that Marty just referenced yet.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to reading it. However, based on my Marty AI synopsis that I just received of the piece. Apple getting out of this totally makes sense. My guess is that they're looking at the potential regulatory issues, and they decided, let's cut it before it's actually an issue. And I've seen speculation that this is part of Apple trying to unwind or disengage from Goldman Sachs.
Mhm.
I don't think that's the case at all. And I seriously question um, the reports, the ongoing reports right now of Apple is trying to get out of their deal with Goldman Sachs. I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. We'll close this discussion out on this with Mike. What do you think?
Oh, I think Jeff and Marty have pretty much covered it. My initial thought was, there's a heck of a lot of competition in this area.
There is.
And maybe it's just something that people weren't using. I mean, how many of you have used this? I've never used it. I don't know anyone who's used it. I'm not a fan of the pay later services myself as someone who might receive those funds. I'm always concerned about what happens when they don't pay later. I know PayPal and whatever they promise, yeah, you're going to get your funds, but I don't know. There's got to be some fine print in there somewhere because
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you as a retailer, you're a
yeah,
retailer, you're not a bank. Your job
right,
is not to provide loans.
exactly,
Your job is to sell a product
right,
and get payment for that product.
right. That's you almost directly ripped the words out of my wife's mouth when we talked about whether we should offer this kind of service on our site, and that's pretty much it. We're
There
not
you
a
go.
bank.
Yeah,
It's
you're
not
not a
up to
bank.
us to finance this
Right.
for them. Even though, yeah, I suppose technically we're not financing it, but it's not up to us to do that. They can figure out a different way to make those payments over time.
I
Yep.
agree.
We want the money.
There you
Yeah.
go. And that
I don't
is
blame you.
legit and that is fair.
Very legit. And then lastly, there's a new iOS 18 API that's bringing AirPods setup experience to third-party accessories. When Apple introduced the AirPods in 2016, the company unveiled a new, easy, intuitive way to pair wireless accessories to iPhone and iPad rather than having to go to Bluetooth settings and press buttons. The system identified the accessory and just prompts it. And we've always enjoyed that. Now there's going to be a new way to set this up with third-party accessories. It's going to be called an Apple. It's going to be called an accessory setup kit. It's a new API that is going to allow third-party accessories to do the same setup experience as Apple accessories with the AirPods and AirTag. As soon as the iPhone and iPad running iOS 17 and the right app sees the compatible accessory, it will go through this. I mean, I think this is pretty nifty to have opening it up, and Apple's getting more and more open when it comes to third-party accessories. And what do you think, Jeff?
I'm kind of cynical about this because I don't have all the details about how this works. So, is this something that has to be baked into the firmware of the device? Or is this something where you have to go download the companion app to your iPhone for the device and then let it do the pairing? And if that's the case, I'm not seeing the value in this
Okay.
because you're not really cutting out any significant steps from the process.
Yep.
So when I see it
Yeah.
in action and I see it done in a way where all I really have to do is get a Bluetooth device near my iPhone and the automatic setup window pops up, okay, then it's cool. But
It's,
until then, yeah, I'm not excited about this.
it is an API, so obviously, we got some. There's some work to be done and stuff, and of course, it's beta software, so it'll be interesting to see
Mhm.
where that goes. What do you think, Mike?
Well, hey, I thought this was sounding great. You're
Oh, and I
explaining,
just ruined
Dave,
it for
you're
you.
talking about, bringing the AirPod setup experience. I'm thinking, well, that's fantastic. I know so many people who are confused by that process of pairing a Bluetooth device to their phone or to their iPad or their Mac or whatever. And then Jeff went and ruined it
I'm
with that
sorry.
Well,
whole
there is a
third-party
video
app
which we
nonsense. But
there's
but
a video, so you can watch it.
that third-party app nonsense, I don't think that's the case, Jeff, based on based
I
on
hope it's not.
what I'm seeing, if it truly is the AirPod setup experience, then it should be seamless. It should be, as Dave explained it, bring that device near my phone, get the little pop-up that say, hey, would you like to pair this? Yes, I would. Great. Boom, you're done. Game changer. That would be amazing.
Okay, so now, assuming that's the case, great. When will we actually see these devices? Because it's not going to apply to anything that we currently own.
20 years.
Yeah, there you go.
Final thoughts from Marty on this.
Boy, yeah, I don't know what to say after Buzzkill Gamut.
Sorry about that. Man,
Uh,
I just really brought the show down.
You know, when I saw this, I thought more accessories coming to an Apple device in an easier way. What's the downside on this? The article.
And then I strut in the room and ruined it
Yeah.
all.
Poop, 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 poop,
Sorry.
poop.
Emoji, 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 emoji.
Yeah.
But I thought it was I think it's got some great possibilities. I acknowledge, like what Mike said, that when are we going to see this? Well, the product and the product software or their firmware has to catch up to this in terms of setting up the API. I don't know how quickly they're going to want to spend. Well, it's getting connected to an Apple product, so maybe this becomes a high priority process for them to be able to do that pairing easier. Yeah,
So maybe
interesting.
we'll see devices demoed at CES. To me, that would be the best case scenario, just for timing. With CES, that'd be the time to see the first products.
It's possible.
And
All right.
if not, Jeff can say, "I told you so."
Right?
Yeah. We'll hold you to that.
I will
before we
gloat.
Before we go, we have to tell everybody about Max Talk. Max Talk 8 is coming up in 3 weeks, 21 days. I cannot believe it. It is almost here. Who better to tell us what's going on on the current information about Max Talk is the organizer of Max Talk Conference Expo, Mike Potter, is here. What's going on with Max Talk? Tell us.
We have not one, not two, but three announcements that I'm going to be putting out tomorrow for everybody to hear about. One of them went out earlier this week when I appeared on ENN on Ecamm's YouTube channel. Ecamm is now going to be a sponsor of Max Talk this year, which is fantastic.
Excellent. Oh,
They
that
are
is fantastic
providing
news.
some wonderful swag for every attendee who comes, and they are putting together the most amazing giveaway that one person who comes to Max Talk is going to walk away with. And my very first question was, can I win that? Because
yeah.
I want it. I don't qualify. But they put together just the most amazing giveaway
Awesome.
that
Oh my God,
someone's
they're
going to be
giving away Doc Rock.
Mike, just put some
Sign me
Groucho
up.
put some Groucho glasses on, and they'll never know the difference.
They'll never know the difference. Okay, so that's one big announcement. Ecamm is
awesome.
now a giveaway sponsor at Max Talk this year. They've just been wonderful to work with, and I'm so thrilled that they were able to make it work for this year. Two, the digital pass is now available. So for anyone who can't make it, there's still time to get your ticket. There's still time to come to Max Talk. More on that in just a second. But if you can't make it in person for whatever reason, and there are a couple folks who can't make it every year, and they look forward to that digital pass, well, the digital pass is now available. So what that means is that roughly 30 days or so after Max Talk ends, the videos from the weekend will be made available for anyone who has the digital pass, which, by the way, if you have your weekend pass, you also get a digital pass. So you can rewatch all the talks from the weekend. So that's the second announcement, Dave. And the third announcement is that the hotel has reopened the block. So
Nice.
even though the block closed on June 10th, it's now reopened. The anyone who wants to book a room at that fantastic rate can do so up until July 8th. So like that week of Max Talk, they can book a room at the great rate. So that just worked out this week too. So that's why I said there's still time to come in person. If you thought, oh gosh, the hotel room block closed, I'm not going to go. No, it's reopened again. So, if you think you can make it, get that weekend pass and come join us because it's going to be a blast. Everyone here is going to be there, so you can be there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yes, you do need to be there because, and again, I'll give the dates. It's July 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Yeah.
And at Crystal Lake at the Holiday Inn Convention Center. As you said, everybody here that's on the panel tonight, Mike will be there, and Marty, myself, and Jeff will have some great talks. Got the workshops. There's just so much great stuff. There's 2 great packages. If you want to come for the 2 days, you can do that. Or if you want to come here for the full 3 days, which we have, you have to come for all 3 days. I mean, this is just amazing. We haven't had these kind of workshops. This is all new event,
All new.
new venue, and just all kinds of great stuff. You got to see it, and the amazing networking. All of us have become fast friends here for many years here. So, why not? You got to come join us here. You go to macstockconferenceandexpo.com, come check us out. And because you're listening to In Touch with iOS and watching, if you use the offer code of In Touch with iOS in the coupon code, you will get $30 off of your tickets. So you even get that bonus for being an In Touch with iOS listener. So please.
Can I share a little hack for that, which hopefully won't get me in trouble?
Oh gosh.
Let's say you and a friend want to
Let's hear that hack.
Here's the hack. You and a friend are both going to come to Macstock. When you use the discount code, don't buy the tickets together and use the code. Buy the tickets individually, so
Yes.
each ticket gets the discount.
Yes, that's good, and that's a good hack. Mike's happy.
That's a
with
legit hack.
Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah. You're not in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, that's a first.
I'm preparing the bags of concrete as we talk, though, Jeff.
Yeah.
So come join us. It's going to be a blast. macstockconferenceandexpo.com. Go to that website. All the links, everything will be in our show notes. We hope to see you. It's, oh my God, 3 weeks. It's crazy.
3 weeks.
Just going to coming up.
The T-shirt
sooner
order
than you
went in
think.
today. Today, the
exciting.
T-shirt
Beautiful.
order went in.
Yeah,
Yes.
We're looking forward to it. So, yes, come see us. Can't wait. And with that, let's go ahead and wrap up for this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Mastodon. It's at intouchwithios at techhangout.social. Support the show by buying me a coffee. Buy it at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We would really appreciate it. Please, you make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we are live streaming, which is Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios. Great to see Brian in the chat, as well as Cletus and many others. So come join us live. You'll be able to watch it. And you'll also be able to watch that live the stream. We keep it up there as past live streams, as well as you can listen to past shows on YouTube. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the articles and topics we discuss are flipped into that magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, so many others. Just go to our website, intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us is on that website. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Mastodon at DaveG65 at mastodon.cloud. And Mike Potter, thank you so much for being here. Where can people find you?
I was just thinking, I don't have anywhere near as many places for people to find me as you do, Dave. You can find me at formaceyersonly.com. That's my podcast. We put that out twice a month, and you'll find us streaming that live on the second and fourth Friday every month at youtube.com/FMEO-TV. And you can find me on Mastodon at tooting.ninja /@ for Mac Guys Only, or tooting.ninja / @MacStockExpo. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. And Marty Jensen, it's so great to have you as always. Where can people find you?
You can find me at Jensius at mastodon.social. That's JENCIUS. Also podcasts. Vision Profiles is a new podcast we've been doing. Tech Savvy Professor and Circular Firing Squad. Also now here on In Touch with iOS on Thursdays, and also Mac Voices Live with Chuck Joyner on Tuesdays.
Yes. Thank you, Marty. Appreciate it. And Jeff Gammon, as always, always have you here. Where can people find you?
It's always so much fun. I look forward to Thursday evenings just so I can hang out with you and everyone else that's here.
Me too.
All right, so where to find me? Social media, Jay Gamut on basically everything. I'm posting stuff on Mastodon and Instagram and sometimes Threads. Then for shows, here we go. Tuesday evenings, Chuck Joiners, Mac Voices Live, here with you on Thursday. So thank you for letting me join in on In Touch with iOS. Then on the British Tech Network, Thursdays, The Big Show. Fridays, The Mac Show. Then Brian Chaffin and I do The Context Machine. And Patrice Brendamore and I started a new podcast called Retro Rewatch, where we are watching shows that I should have seen but never did. And and so we are starting with Stargate SG-1. And we're having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
Also, I am so excited to see everyone, not just the three of you, but of course I'm super excited to see you, but everyone that's coming to Macstock, I'm so excited to see you. I have hugs for everyone, but only if they're consensual.
Right. All right. And with that, thank you all for watching and listening and being here and supporting the show. We really appreciate it. We have a lot of fun doing the show, and we're going to have another great episode next week. But until the next time, we'll talk again soon. All right, guys. Yay. Thank you.
Jeff, what do you have that's non-consensual to offer?
How much money do you have?
or ever
Just
so,
buy me a drink.
just ever so it becomes uncomfortable.
Right.
You know, I submitted my Macstock film festival video yesterday
I saw
to
that.
Wally. Yeah.
I saw that.
Oh, look, Webb's just came in under the wire. How you doing, Webb? You missed a
Hey,
lot.
Webb.
Thanks, Cletus.
Yeah.
We enjoyed doing the show. We appreciate your support. I'm pretty sure we're seeing Cletus, so he's going to be there. I know that.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Good.
Yes. Yes, for sure. That'll be
Isn't
awesome.
that-
Been looking
that
forward to
his-
meeting him.
It's first time, yeah.
First time. Oh, Cletus, you're going to have so much fun.
Yeah, we'll have to break you in.
So,
Homer?
Mike, are they doing Barry's backyard barbecue? Is he doing any of that, or is it
I don't think Barry's
Somebody
doing
asked
anything
me-
this year. No.
somebody asked me about how are they gonna handle food?
How is who going to handle food?
How is Macstock gonna handle food?
They get lunch Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not Friday.
Not Friday.
You're on your own.
On your own for lunch Friday. But there's a restaurant in the hotel. There's restaurants all around the hotel.
Yeah, Barry is not doing the barbecue this year.
Yeah, that's his deal.
I think he's coming.
Yeah, Barry
Mhm.
will be there. He'll be there.
Busy man. All right, we're going to wrap up the live streams.